Hi, this is John from Sharp Mountain Games, and in this video we're going to talk about why you might want to give a roll-under system a try. Now I know what you're thinking. You're stuck in the past, old man. You're just in the old man times. Well, hopefully you're a little bit nicer than that, and you'll hear me out after the intro. So why should we even discuss roll-under mechanics? Shouldn't everyone just roll and add like the current edition of a certain game? Shouldn't that game dictate our every move as a player and dungeon master? Of course not. We're not corporate sheep. Now, certainly there's times when roll-under is a much better choice, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Now, I'm not saying never run a game of roll and add. I certainly do under certain circumstances. But let's talk about a few things that are really in roll-under's favor. First of all, it has a very long tradition. Roll-under has been around a while. It's not some new, weird, indie thing. And here's a partial list of games that use it. Call of Cthulhu, FASA Star Trek, the new Star Trek Adventures, Warhammer Fantasy, GURPS, Star Frontiers. Even older editions of D&D, you might roll under your ability score. And the Black Hack and White Hack are OSR D&D style games that use it. Oh, and here's two more that use basically roll under, Golf and Blackjack. Think most people know those games? I think so. Now, certainly, if you know of any others, and there's a million, just feel free, you can drop them in the comments. So why go roll under? It's great for new players. New players are faced with a lot of obstacles when they sit down at the table. They've got these very long, confusing character sheets. 5e, I'm looking at you. Funny dice, and there's always been the funny dice. Being asked to make open-ended decisions and to talk to imaginary people. And now you want to throw math into the mix as well? In my experience, new players really slide into roll-under systems almost effortlessly. You want to analyze an alien planet's atmosphere? Just roll your science skill or lower. And if you like a percentile system, that's even more intuitive for many, many people. Now you might say, well, what about armor class and difficulty numbers? One thing that I use is White Hack's Zero Up armor class, and I've ported it over into other games. So let's say, just standard D&D terms, you have an armor class of 13. Take 10 away from that, and now it's 3. So if you're rolling and you roll under your skill and roll under the armor class, so rather than missing, you connect with a glancing blow. You can also do it that you miss, but I think that's a little more, a little trickier. So for the armor, you connect with a glancing blow and you do 1 point of damage. And that way the player still feels like they hit the enemy since they did roll under their skill level or their skill number. And you can also use this Zero Up AC as a way to set difficulty numbers, like for a non-combat task. You could say, oh, that's a combat task of difficulty 5 or AC 5. And if they get a glancing blow, you just make that a partial success. So it's really not hard to bring even armor class into roll under. Now, roll under is great for online games, and especially one-shots. You know, playing complicated games online is, well, complicated. Experienced and tech-savvy players may not have any problems. In fact, many of them, they just write macros to handle all the fiddly math. But being online presents its own problems. You know, you can't reach across the table to give a player a dice, a die and say, oh, roll this one. Or you can't point to the modifier on their character sheet very easily. Oh, just roll and add this. You can't do that online. Roll under really can help. Players roll one main die type, maybe a D20 or a D100, and you just compare it to their skill level. Besides being great for new players, it can be great if you're switching genres. So if you use something like roll under, there's not a whole new set of mechanics to learn if you want to play an evening of science fiction as a break from your usual fantasy slog, which might be why some of the universal systems like GURPS are roll under. And this is something I think I've said before, and I'm certainly not the only one. For online play, simpler systems are generally better. There's less to get in the way when you're already dealing with being on a Zoom call, and, we've all wandered off mentally during Zoom sessions or Skype or whatever. So there's really a golden opportunity, I think, for developing rule systems that are maximized for online play. And I'm sure there's some out there, but I don't know that any of them have really taken hold deeply. But Roll Under might certainly be a viable option for those online rules systems. Roll Under is great for solo play. Sometimes you want to test out a new scenario or a new game system, and sometimes you just need to relax for an hour. In my experience, Roll Under is much smoother for solo play. Sure, rolling and adding a single die roll doesn't take much longer. You're saying, well, it only takes a second or two. But it does take a little longer and starts to add up if you're one person and you're controlling multiple characters and multiple opponents in combat. It can really add up to your time and your mental load. Rolling Under cuts the time way down, and it seems to require less mental overhead. Just give it a try and see if you find it that way too. And Roll Under is easy for game masters. Roll Under is no harder than Roll Over for GMs, and I think in some cases it's even easier. Players can simply tell you if they succeeded or not. So unless the roll is really low enough to be under the armor class, if you're using a 0-up kind of armor class, it's very easy to adjudicate. So let's wrap up. Am I saying that Roll Under is the end-all and be-all? Nah, I don't think any one dice mechanic is that. For example, I really like the old Marvel game with its percentile and it has a universal chart. It just works really nicely for superhero games. You might want to play the old West End game Star Wars using the traditional dice pools, or Vampire, I believe, had the dice pools as well. So whatever's working for your group is great. However, Roll Under is one avenue towards simpler mechanics, and it really is great for helping new folks enter the hobby. So, kind of to wrap up and in conclusion, I don't think Roll Under is old school. It's classic, just like you. So you can share your thoughts below and stay tuned to learn a little bit more about Sharp Mountain Games products, and we'll see you next time. So if you'd like to check out or purchase any of our products, we have 3 books that are in print: The Star Mermaid, The Dwarven Pickup Truck, and The Sky Tree. And the best place to get the print versions is through Amazon or Lulu. And also over on DriveThru, you can get the digital versions, or we have a number of other adventures and character classes and even some stock art available on DriveThru. And then on the Roll20 Marketplace, we have some map packs and also character cards for use. So wherever you like to shop, odds are we're there. And hopefully, we hope that you'll subscribe and like the video, and we'll see you next time.